When the office asked which bear is the best bear, well, here's the answer. The black bear is the LeBron of bears. First of all, they are by far the best climbers. Imagine thinking you escaped only for the bastard to start free running up the tree. Not only are they part squirrel, they can sprint at 35 miles per hour and they're great swimmers. One actually swam for 9 miles in the Gulf of Mexico. Black bears can also eat anything from deer to fish to fruits and berries to human garbage. Not to mention they're smart. I'm talking about smart enough to purposely cover their tracks to hide from hunters. They'll also actively hide in bushes and wait for the hunters to pass by them. At about 600 pounds, black bears are strong enough to shoot the fay with any human, but also smart enough to not even try it. You could also easily make the argument that the black bear is by far the world's friendliest bear, and I dare you to look at this video and tell me I'm wrong. When you really think about it, black bears are just overgrown forest puppies, and like dogs, are all over America. There's about 600,000 black bears in North America, meaning out of all of its cousins, they've barely been affected by humans. In fact, they might have even benefited from them. And the cubs are cute enough to commit war crimes over. Jim wasn't kidding, black bears have it all figured out, which earns them the title of best bear, and that's not an opinion, it's stone cold fact. Glaucus atlanticus, basically a small sea slug called a nudibranch. It's a gastropod, which makes it related to snails, and a mollusk, which makes it related to cuttlefish, squid, and clams. Those bright colors are actually counter-shading camouflage, meaning it blends in whether you're above it or below it. Blue side blends in with the blue of the ocean if you're looking at it from above, and its silver and gray underside blends in with the sunlight reflecting on the ocean surface if you're below it. This anime fighter jet has no real defense of its own, but it eats the Portuguese man of war and steals its venom through the power of appropriation. This sea slug stores the stolen stinging cells in its body, which is why they have a nasty surprise for anyone that tries to touch them. Like a true colonizer, the Glaucus has no bag of its own, so it has to steal one, and the result is a venomous sting that can cause 50 shades of agony. Though why is this man holding one in his hands? Not a rhetorical question, I'm as confused as you are. Because the Glaucus atlanticus concentrates its venom, it's actually more painful and more dangerous than the man of war. The Glaucus is also hermaphrodite, meaning they can both pitch and catch, and to avoid getting stung by their mate, they have a penis that can be as long as their body to allow them to get it on from a respectful distance. The more you know. Someone on Instagram DM'd me and said I couldn't possibly ruin squirrels, and they swore on my hat. Nobody swears on my hat. Red squirrels are vicious baby-killing cannibals that'll wipe out entire nurseries, sometimes eat them, and then find a now childless mother to try to recreate the family they just erased. Russian squirrels have been known to travel in gangs and attack much larger animals. A mob of Russian squirrels actually mauled a dog, tearing it to pieces, and by the time anybody stepped in, they scattered, each carrying a piece of the dog's flesh. Yes, they eat nuts, but in some cases they'll raid birds' nests and eat whatever chicks they can find. Because female squirrels will mate with as many males as possible, sometimes the males will go into a frenzy, which can lead to AOC. Acts of Cosby. Sometimes they'll gang her, with each male getting a turn. Fun fact, if you follow a squirrel around for a day, you'll either witness it become or create a victim. Also, squirrels are responsible for more obituaries than you think. They can unintentionally kill entire families because 20% of fires in the US are caused by these acorn jockeys chewing on electrical wires. Squirrels cause millions of dollars in damage a year just by being themselves. They're bushy-tailed baby-faced antichrist that somehow escaped persecution thanks to pretty privilege. Somebody said I couldn't ruin ferrets, so I'm gonna make it your problem. This is what a hairless ferret looks like as a result of adrenal disease. Here's another naked ferret, but this time it looks like something that might just get me banned. Ferrets often fall into dead sleep, and since they can knock out for 18 hours, sometimes they get buried alive by owners that don't know any better because they really do look dead. If a female ferret doesn't get laid, she can straight up die because when she goes into heat, her body produces estrogen, which causes the bone marrow to stop producing red blood cells. So either she gets clapped by a male or by anemia. The other option isn't great either. Ferrets have a violent mating ritual that involves the male biting her neck and dragging her across the cage like she owes him money, to the point where the female might start screaming. This domestic violence actually stimulates ovulation, so the entire ferret community needs abuse to survive. Which means the female's only options are to get ferret breezied or to die from not mating. The world record for longest time with a ferret in your pants is 5 hours 30 minutes. Its Latin name is Mustela putorius furo, which means stinky weasel thief. Makes sense because ferrets will steal the most random objects, hide them, and then become weirdly attached to them. They'll go to war over a gym sock. If I can't somehow make you like opossums by the end of this video, you have permission to unfollow me. When the babies get too big for the mother's pouch, they'll start riding along on her back as she looks for food. They don't play dead, they have severe anxiety, and the intense fear makes them pass out and produce a smell like a corpse. Because of its naturally low body temperature, it's rare for them to get rabies because viruses can't survive long in their bodies. And despite what society thinks, they're actually really clean and spend a lot of time grooming themselves like cats. Possums and opossums are actually two different animals. Opossums are found in North America and possums are in Australia, New Zealand, etc. They're not rats, they're actually marsupials, which makes them related to koalas, wallabies, and quokkas, and they're the only ones that are American. If it wasn't for them, you would probably have Lyme disease because they can eat 5,000 ticks in one season, so next time you see one, say thank you. They're also immune to snake venom, which is why they'll shoot face with rattlesnakes and vipers and win. They're clean and intelligent, which makes them surprisingly good pets, and they'll show affection to their owners by licking their skin and rubbing their heads against them. And before you think that's gross, your dog would eat his own poop and lick your entire face without even taking a breath mint, so chill out. This is what it looks like when an opossum is on your side, and I defy you to tell me this isn't adorable. These are the top 5 loudest animals in the world. Number 5 is the kakapo, because to find a girl, they'll make a series of loud booming calls that are as loud as a jet engine that can travel across the rainforest of New Zealand. They're neighbors from hell because they'll make it boom for 8 hours a day for 6 months straight. At number 4 is the largest land animal on the planet, the African elephant. Not only can they serve ear-splitting noise, they can produce a loud rumble that's powerful enough to travel for miles. The frequency is too low for you to hear, but strong enough to make your body vibrate like you're at a deaf concert. At number 3 is the howler monkey because its call is so loud that you can hear it for 3 miles away in the dense jungle, and if you're near a family, your ears are going to be ringing for the rest of the day. Scientists believe that the loudest monkeys are actually the ones with the smallest equipment, so not only do they overcompensate, I guess humans aren't that different after all. At runner-up is the pistol shrimp because colonies are so loud and disruptive that they can actually mess with submarine sonar and they can disorient any fish that are nearby. And number 1 is the sperm whale because they might be the only animal that can turn you into a headline without even touching you. They can reach 230 decibels where only 160 can burst your eardrums. They're so loud they can cause your lungs to explode or cause an embolism in your heart. In my opinion, these are the top 3 most dangerous things Steve Irwin ever did. Coming in at number 3 is whatever the hell this was. Now for any normal person this is a death wish, especially me because I look for my fun while it's in my hand, so there's no doubt I would throw my baby at the crocodile and then go home and try to change the raw chicken's diaper until I realize my mistake. Even though the khaki god is incapable of making mistakes, that's still a crocodile with a 3,700 pound bite force, but somehow it's still the second most dangerous thing in this video. At number 2 is when he got charged by a cassowary. This dinosaur that time left behind is the world's most dangerous bird because they can inflict life-threatening injuries with one kick. And since this Jurassic feather bastard can leap 7 feet, they can easily slit your throat if they jump high enough. And considering that was a male cassowary which are more aggressive and territorial, this was somehow even more dangerous. This is easily number 1 for one reason. Steve Irwin almost never carried any venom, even when facing a black mamba, a snake that allegedly has enough venom to drop an elephant and flatline a person in less than 45 minutes. Even though the black mamba's aggressiveness has been exaggerated, if they feel cornered they will strike and strike hard. One bite could shut your entire system down, but Brass Ball Steve could not be bought. You don't want smoke with these animals because here are the top 5 scariest predators on the planet. At 5 is the Bengal tiger because at 10 feet, almost 500 pounds, they're one of the most powerful big cats in the world. As ambush hunters, they will take your life before you even realize it, and they can become man-eaters if they develop a taste for humans. 4 is the polar bear because not only are they the largest predators on the planet, they can smell out their next victim from 6 miles away and they'll stalk them for days. If you see a polar bear, it's already too late. And since they can outrun and outswim you, once an ice bear starts singing Mario Judah, it's really up for you. Number 3 are hyenas because imagine being chased down by a pack of animals that literally never get tired, only to get eaten alive once they catch you. Hyenas go for the guts and intestines first, and with jaws that can amputate a rhino, it's one of the most violent ways you can die. Number 2 are crocodiles because their attack style is camping and slamming with jaws that feel like you got hit with a sledgehammer followed by a death roll designed to tear you into pieces. They've been around for 200 million years, which means they've gotten really good at catching bodies. These guys are number 1 because paws of these homicidal zebra dolphins will chase down prey like wolves into exhaustion. They'll also actively torture prey before they eat it. Write your will because with this there is no way. A lot of people tagged me in that and wanted me to explain, so meet the cutest serial killer you've ever seen, the stoat. This stoat is a muscular, which makes it related to wolverines, honey badgers, and otters, and believe me, they inherit all the psychopath energy. This tiny Bundy goes in some of the most unethical kill streaks you've ever seen, clapping rabbits, birds, and anything else they can overpower. Because they're really small, they hunt by chasing rabbits relentlessly until the rabbit gives up. Even though the stoat is 10 times smaller, it's able to wrestle the rabbit to the ground and then end it with a devastating bite to the back of the neck. Sometimes the stoat will hypnotize the rabbit by performing a dance known as the Weasel War Dance. The dance puts them in a trance, which makes it easier for the stoat. This nuke with a tail was brought to New Zealand to keep the rabbit population under control. Instead, they nearly ratioed the entire bird population to extinction. And their name actually changes based on the color and season it is. Like this one right here is a stoat, but when it switches to its all-white winter coat, it's known as an ermine. As cute as they are, they're bloodthirsty carnivores that chase animals 10 times their size into exhaustion and then murk them upon arrival. The more you know. There's an Australian animal that has the power to save other animals' lives without even knowing it. This is a southern hairy-nosed wombat, and they're one of the most important animals in Australia because by accidentally digging underground pools of water, they actually bail out other animals during droughts. They don't do this on purpose, of course. They dig burrows because that's what wombats do, but they actually save hundreds of animals every year just by being themselves. It's not the only way either. Wombat burrows are often used by smaller animals like the rock wallaby, little penguin, and bettong to hide in during raging bushfires. Because they're such a furry godsend, they're classified as keystone species because in non-scientific terms, the whole hood depends on them. And fun fact, there's an animal in Africa that does the exact same thing. Because aardvarks spend their entire lives burrowing, their abandoned homes are also used by animals to hide in during fires. He doesn't know it, but this little dirt pig actually creates homes for animals like honey badgers, jackals, and mongoose, and African wild dogs and hyenas even use them as a nursery for their babies. No one pig rabbit should have that much power. Animal group names that make me smile. On the inside. A group of armadillos is called a roll. A group of sharks is known as a shiver. A group of bees is known as a bike. A bike of bees. A group of iguanas is called a mess. I don't know what the naming guy had against them, but we'll call it a personal bias. Multiple rhinos in one place is scientifically referred to as a crash. A group of aardvarks is an armory. A group of tapirs is called a candle. I don't get it either. A group of frogs is called an army. Two bears in one place is called a grinder day gone well. But more than 2 bears in one place is called a sleuth of bears. A group of these hood rabbits is respectfully called a mob. Makes sense because this picture gives me Godfather. This kangaroo tracks you down to either make you an offer you can't refuse or to have a moment of your time to talk about the Lord and Savior. Or he just wants to send you to him. A group of koalas is called a cling. Actually, can somebody confirm this because I really want this to be true. A group of elephants is called a memory. Nah, there's no way that's real, I just want it too bad. And last and apparently least, an embarrassment of pandas.